Alright, so in this tutorial we're going to work on this pen in 3ds Max and Substance Painter. Of course, this tutorial is going to be for beginners, and as you can see here, this is the reference image I'm going to use, and I have lots of reference images that I'm going to look at, as you can see here, in order to be able to follow what is going on here with this pen. So what you're going to do is you're going to create a plane like this and just drop the reference image on top of it to see it like this. And of course you're going to change the size according to the size of the plane, and you're going to be ready to go. So the first thing, I'm going to go to the front viewport and F3 from the keyboard in order to see what I can see here, and we're going to probably start with a cylinder as we usually do. So we're going to start creating a cylinder here in the setter, and we're going to release the mouse. Probably we're going to leave it 18 size, or we're going to go with 16 probably, because this cylinder is not as big. So I'm going to go back to the perspective, F4, in order to activate the edge faces, rotate, and we're going to also activate the angle snap toggle in order to rotate this with exact degrees. We're going to go with 90 degree exactly, 90 degrees. So as you can see here, probably 16 sides is a little bit too much for this pen, but anyways, we're going to go back to the front, and we're going to F4 from the keyboard. Also, I'm going to hide these or remove these when it comes to the plane, and also here I'm gonna bring these back to 0. Right click on the key on the mouse. Also, the radius is a little bit too big, so I want it to be looking something like this. And also, you're gonna use Alt X from the keyboard in order to activate what we call the X-ray, and you can convert this to editable poly, and also you can delete these polygons over here because they are no longer necessary. Back to the front viewport, select the border as you can see, and keep holding shift and create a copy. Keep holding shift to copy that border, or from the keyboard to activate the scale tool. And as you can see here, it's not exactly in the center. Also, this reference image is not perfectly straight. That's why we see that there is something that is not going perfectly here. So keep holding Control all the time, actually Shift all the time, in order to create copies. Alright, so I'm going to go over here and R from the keyboard, or ring until you reach the end. Now we're going to go back to perspective. Probably I should push the reference image back because I want to be able to see through. So Alt X from the keyboard to deactivate what we call the X-ray vision. We're going to select this border, scale tool, keep holding shift in order to do this. Right click, then collapse. Alright, so this vertex here needs to be pushed in this direction a little bit. Also, we're going to go back to the front. Alright, so it's going to look like something like this. Also, there is one other thing. We're going to select this, Alt X from the keyboard, in order to see through, even though the X-ray isn't that perfect because we have double-sided. And so we're going to right click on the scale tool in order to increase its size a little bit, and we're going to go over here, and we're going to increase the chamfer value. Probably we're going to bring the edge in this direction, and we're going to confirm that. Also, we're going to do the same thing for this one here. Double click, push it back probably like this, and chamfer it. Alright, so we don't want to overdo it like the other one. This one is going to be a little bit simpler, so we're going to actually make it a little bit thicker. Also over here we're going to do this. I don't mind the imperfection here because it is not supposed to be perfect anyways, since the reference image we're following isn't perfect in the first place. Alright, so we're gonna select this border, and we will actually, I'm gonna try to look at the reference images and see what is going on here exactly. So it seems like we are gonna go back to the perspective viewport in order to be able to follow exactly. Also deactivate the X-ray Alt X from the keyboard, and we're gonna start scaling our model a little bit. But first of all, it seems like it's going actually in, not out. Something like this. Alright, actually we're gonna go back a little bit, and I want this to be a little bit deeper, something that looks like this. Alright, keep holding shift all the time, and actually this is something going on inside the surface. That's why you cannot see it perfectly, at least not yet. Alright, also I just realized that there is something very important that we need to know, which is some of the parts that are kind of hidden we're gonna work on as well. So I want you just to keep that in mind before we go deeper and work on the other pieces. So for example, this piece here is kind of gonna be hidden, but we're gonna work on some details. So we're gonna select this one here, ring, and connect. We're gonna go with about 1, 2, 3, probably 3 like this, and 3 edges. Chamfer, we're gonna go with a small value, probably is gonna look like this. Alright, and what we will do right now is we're gonna select, actually I take it back, I want to go with 4 edges. Alright, so ring, connect, we're gonna go with 4 edges, and we're gonna chamfer them just the same, almost the same value with 1 edge only. Okay, confirm that. We're gonna select 1, 2, 3, 4 ring, and right now you need to keep holding control in order to convert edge selection to poly selection, and you're gonna extrude these edges, or you're gonna extrude these polygons, sorry. And we're gonna go with a local normal because we want the extrusion to be distributed equally. It seems like this value needs to be a little bit smaller. We're gonna go with 2. I think 2 is better. 0.2, I mean, is better. Alright, so this is basically what it looks like from the inside. And also I made it seems like I made something. I'm here. I'm trying to actually look at the reference image, but it seems like I accidentally created the other side. But don't worry about it because they are basically similar. So what we'll do is we will rotate this 180 degrees. All right, so something like this, and we will push this over here. Basically, this is going to be inside the other one. Please don't get confused because there is no there's no point in getting confused. Just follow me here. So I'm going to select these edges, keep holding control to convert edge selection to poly selection, and I hope you can see this. But I am growing the selection because it seems like this is no longer necessary, because actually the other piece, which is this piece here, that is going to be on the other side, which is going to have this shape. So please pay attention here because there are 3 pieces. There is this piece that you can see here, which is this one, and there is this piece here. I hope you're familiar with pens. You do, right? You are familiar with how pens work, especially the old style. So this one here is gonna be the one that is gonna have the head, and that we're gonna model right now, and this is gonna be the cover of the pen. So for now, we're gonna go to the front viewport because I want to make some adjustments. So the thing is here, we are not kind of having a great visual, so we're gonna open the Material Editor M from the keyboard. We're gonna go with change the opacity to something like 10 and apply it to this piece here because I want to see clearly, very clearly. All right, it seems like we are following this the reference nicely, and yeah, also it seems like we need to push this back around here. And what we'll do also for this one, we're gonna select the border, and we will actually we will actually bring it over here, and we're gonna stop, as you can see, when we see that golden ring. Also, it seems like I just realized something else, which is that this ring is kind of separate from these two pieces, so we're gonna try to make sure that we're not gonna mess things up. In order to do this, we are going to select this edge that you can see here, and we're gonna keep holding Shift, kind of create a copy of this border. And what we'll do is we're gonna keep holding Control to convert Edge Selection to Poly Selection, and we're gonna detach it because basically this is gonna be a separate piece. This is gonna be a ring that is gonna be separated from these pieces, and I hope that you're not getting confused here because I believe this is something simple, except that probably the way I approached it probably wasn't the best way to look at it. So I'm gonna isolate this ring real quick, like this, and we're gonna end up with something like this. So we're gonna select the border, this one and this one, then we're gonna go to the scale tool, and we're gonna scale like this. All right. And what we're gonna do, guess what we're gonna do? We're gonna use the bridge tool in order to kind of connect between these polygons, as you can see. Good. So we're gonna de-isolate or bring back our everything that we can see here in the screen. And right now, I will work on this piece here, which is the piece that is. Which is this one, if you can see this here. All right, so since we don't have a great visual because it's covered, we're gonna improvise a little bit. So we're gonna go back to Material Editor M from the keyboard, and we're going to apply our normal material. Okay, good. And right now I'm going to delete these polygons because they are not really necessary, and we're going to start I believe what we'll do is we're going to make this narrower, a little bit narrower, and we are going to extrude these edges like this also. Also, we're going to probably, before we do this, we're gonna borrow these edges, so we're gonna extrude them like this in this direction. All right, and we're gonna make things smaller, which is basically going to represent the head of the pen. So basically, we're gonna go back to the front to make sure that the we're not gonna overdo it because we have a limit that we cannot exceed. Okay. So this is basically the head of the pen. It should be really narrow and pointy in the very end and look like this. All right, so this is acceptable for now. And what we'll do, all right, so what we'll do now is we'll select this, which is basically going to be separated, detach it. All right, confirm that. And for this one, we'll select the border, and we're gonna scale it in like this because we want to cover any kind of issues, if probably just in case this space is gonna be empty or something, and we're gonna see inside, which is not gonna be really good. So also here, this needs to, we need to extrude it like this. Also, we cannot keep it open from the inner side because, as I said before, it's not a good idea to keep it open, because if you see through, probably you're gonna see the back face, and the back face is not gonna be rendered, and you're gonna see some weird results, which is not great for us. Anyways, so this is basically these are basically the two pieces, the first two pieces we need to work on. And right now we're going to jump to the cover of the pen. So F3 from the keyboard in order to activate our edge faces. And we're going to open the material editor and apply the transparent material assigned to selection in order to see what is going on clearly. Also, probably I'm going to use this one. So we're gonna copy it probably. Alright, probably not. So what we'll do is we will actually select these polygons here, and we're gonna detach them. Alright, detach them as a clone this time because we want to keep the original piece. Okay, so as you can see here, this is detached as a separate element, and we want to scale it a little bit because we don't want it to be on top of the other one. Alright, so this is basically going to be a separate piece, which is going to be, as I said before, which is going to be the cover. Alright, so also it seems like this piece here has its own ring, its own golden ring, as you can see, and we will just create it in a separate manner. So I believe we're going to do this. We're going to create kind of an extrusion to the inner side in order to have that space, and then we're going to go in our way to continue working on whatever other pieces we're going to work on. Also, I want to make sure that this size is good enough. And when you see me convert from edges to polygons, it means that I'm holding control in order to convert edge selection to poly selection. Okay, so we're going to do this. Keep holding shift all the time, and when you see me extruding the edges, it means that I'm holding shift. Alright, I hope you can follow me, guys. These are for beginners, of course. For those who follow my intermediate and advanced stuff, I think this is a no-brainer. But probably for those who are new to 3ds Max and 3D in general, this kind of seems like a big deal. And don't actually think it is not for those who are new. Because if you try to put yourself in a situation where you're learning something completely new, it's going to be difficult to understand even the smaller stuff, the things that you take for granted right now, which is how learning happens in the first place. Things seem difficult in the beginning, and over time they will be easier and easier as you practice and as you get used to these things that you are practicing. All right, so we're gonna keep holding shift all the time in order to do this, and we're going to collapse this. Nice. All right, lots of stuff are going on. So I'll open the material editor, and from the keyboard I want to see everything right now. Okay, probably we're gonna do the same thing over here. apply it to selection, change the color to gray. Okay, nice. This is basically when it comes to this is what we created when it comes to the basic stuff. Alright, so here I'm gonna go to hierarchy. I'm gonna go to activate pivot only or effect pivot only, then center to the object, because I want to center the axis or the pivot to the center of this object. And I want to copy this, keep holding shift, copy it as a copy, because we're gonna make some changes. So we're gonna scale it up a little bit, and we could have used basically used the surface that we had here, but even though the that method is better, of course, but nevertheless. So this string is going to look something like this. Okay, good. Now, right now we're going to create this handle or this thing that you use in order to keep the pen sticking out of your pocket or something like that. All right, so yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the front, and what we will do also, probably we will I will isolate the reference image, and we're going to create a plane. So we're going to create a plane that looks like this, and basically I'm going to take it all the way here and use Alt-X on the keyboard in order to activate the X-ray. And it seems like this thing has kind of two it has two edges that are kind of extruded. So what we'll do is we're going to create two edges like this simply, and probably we're going to chamfer them or push them apart a little bit, and we're going to chamfer them because we want to create the same effect we can see in the reference image. I'm going to go with something like this. Alright, so we're going to select these two polygons, but first of all we're going to go back to perspective. We're going to give it thickness using the channel modifier. So we're going to open here the we're going to open, as you can see here, this is the arrow that from which we're going to open the list of modifiers. We're going to search for a modifier that is called shell. So this shell modifier is basically going to give us give our piece here some thickness. We're going to go with something like this. Of course, this is not going to be as thick as anything else in our model here, because probably it's the thinnest thing. The thinnest thing. Kind of too many teeth at the same time. It's kind of especially when it's late and I'm tired. Alright, so we're gonna select these two, and we're going to actually extrude these a little bit. We're gonna go probably with something like this. I think this is going to be enough. And of course, this is subject to change. Probably we're going to change this anytime, because this is let's see. We don't. I don't want to talk about it before we start doing the thing we're gonna do. All right. So first of all, as you might have guessed, we're going to make this thinner over here. So we're gonna select. Create an edge right there, select these, and we're going to scale them in like this. Also here we don't have to follow the reference image exactly as it is, because of course it is the reference image here is kind of not perfectly aligned with the horizon, so we're not going to follow it. Also, Also, I'm not going to do this because it's not supposed to look like this, so we're going to make it thinner over here, and we're going to go with something like this. So we're going to bring one piece over here, and we're going to select everything, as you can see. Okay, so we're going to expand it over here, and I'm going to chamfer it. Alright, we're going to go with 2. Nice. Also here, in order to keep the effect taking place, we're going to modify how this looks for now. Okay, I think we're kind of getting there. Also, I'm gonna push these a little bit away because we're gonna need them, and we're gonna connect once again. All right, create something that looks like this, and we're gonna add a few edges. Probably there's gonna be one over here, and we're gonna chamfer it. Also, I want to make it a little bit thicker, like this. We're gonna go back to perspective to see what the heck we're doing. There is also one very important thing, which is the fact that this is bended, but I believe we're gonna. So we're going to, first of all, I'm gonna remove these edges in here because they are gonna be hidden inside the pen, so we don't have to worry about this. Also, this one here needs to rotate, so we're gonna rotate this about 45 degrees, and we're gonna extrude this because it's gonna rotate. Also, this one is gonna be another 45 degrees because like this, we're gonna complete the 90-degree angle. Alright, I hope this is not too confusing because for me it's very clear because I'm focused on where I'm going. So we're going to chamfer this in order to create a smooth transition, as you can see. The thing is, there are kind of some angles here. So what we'll do in order to create these angles, of course, we're not going to keep this as it is because definitely we're going to make it bend. So we're going to search for a kind of modifier called freeform deformation, or FFD. We're going to go with FFD pots. And as you can see, we're going to hit the arrow. We're going to go with control points. And what we'll do now is we're going to select these control points and move them, as you can see. The bad thing about using any type of freeform deformation modifier is when we have when we have a lack of vertices. It's going to hurt our model a little bit, but overall it's going to work properly. Oh no, it is not working as properly as I expected. So we're seeing some weird results, but I believe we're gonna go back a little bit, not that much, and we're gonna change the sets. What are we gonna go with 6? No, not that one. All right, so we are gonna go with 6 Alright, so this will give us a little bit better control. Actually, I'm gonna go with 8. Alright, so this gives us way better control. Even though it is not perfect, but it is better. Alright, so here we're going to move. Alright, so everything else is moving alongside it. Alright, so basically this is what we want to do for now. I think this is going to take a little bit longer than it's supposed to take. But right now I'm going to convert it to editable poly. And I'm going to do something. I'm going to open the material editor, apply a normal material. Actually, I deactivated the what we call the X-ray, and actually I might change that a little bit because it doesn't seem as good as I expected. Even though we used a great modifier that can make things look interesting, but sometimes it's just not gonna happen the way we want it. So we're probably gonna rotate this. But the thing is, I really think that this should look like this, because I'm gonna bring everything else, and as you can see, alright, so we need to rotate this, bring it back like this, and actually this gives me a better idea and gives us a better understanding of the angle. So now we can actually make it look even better. I'm gonna put it over there, and I think this is the shape we are looking for from the start. Even though the angle is kind of not something that I 100% agree with, but I believe it is good enough for now. Alright, so we spent a good amount of time trying to model this, even though it's important, but we need to kind of be a little bit conservative and move forward, because we don't want to be, I should say, we don't want to be perfectionists. Even though it's good to spend a good amount of time trying to do these stuff. Alright, so actually, for the sake of demonstration and explaining purposes, we're not gonna try to make it like it is the last thing we're gonna create. So something like this is gonna be enough, I believe. Alright, try to push it to the inside like this, and also, alright, this is perfect. And also I'm gonna select this edge over here, chamfer. I'm gonna go with probably something like this. Okay, great. And we're gonna select these polygons over here, select these polygons, and we're gonna extrude them negatively to the inside. Okay. Actually, you know, I didn't want to kind of delete those polygons, because I know this is gonna be kind of problematic later. I think this is good enough for now, and I will try to push these in this direction. Okay, great. So this is basically our pen in a nutshell when it comes to the blocking of our model. And for now, we are going to jump to the other stuff, like creating furnishing the high poly and the low poly and UV and rapid and all the other good stuff. So as you can see, if we hide these, we hide the selection. If we hide the selection, we are going to be able to see what's kind of lying inside. And there are some layers, that's why it kind of took us a little bit longer than I expected. Anyways, we're going now to basically hide this, hide selection, and we're going to select everything here. We're going to open the Scene Explorer. Alright, so the plane here is what is going to be what is the it's the reference image, and right now we're going to create a layer. So this one is going to be pen underscore HP. This is the high poly version. Double click, create a mirror, and we're going to create a copy, and this one is going to be pen underscore LP. So this is basically the low poly. For now, we're going to hide the low poly and work. Before we do that, we're going to select the low poly and bring it back to its original position. We're going to go with no clone in order to bring it back to where it was before. And right now, we're going to hide the LP and or the low poly and work with the high poly only. Because we need to, I'm going to isolate this because we need to work right now on what we call the support edges. And there is one very important thing, which is this sucks. So we're going to I hate after I create the layers, I hate going back and creating extra stuff. So basically what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to create the inner side of this area, because it might be possible that we're going to have to show our model from the inside, or kind of showcase the abilities of our model. And it's going to be problematic if this one is going to be kind of open like this. It's not going to be good. Alright, so the good thing about this is that we have a border over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a bridge, and we're done. So this kind of generally speaking is making our model kind of three-dimensional in all of its aspects. Also, here we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to go to the front, F3 from the keyboard. Kind of do this. Or if we don't want to waste our lives, we're going to do this instead. So we're going to go to shadow modifier, and we're going to give a thickness to the inside. This is a good idea for this piece, and for the other one it's gonna be not so good because it's a little bit complicated than the other ones, and going for it is gonna be a little bit not great. So when it comes to this one, I believe we're gonna go do it the manual way, because there's kind of some layers and some details that they're not gonna look great if we do apply the shadow modifier, especially on the inside, and it's gonna add some weird looking surfaces on the inside that they're not gonna be the best thing we want to see. especially when we start unwrapping and creating the low poly and stuff. It's gonna be annoying to a certain extent. Alright, so bring it over here, and yeah, and do this. So right click and collapse. Probably bring this vertex forward a little bit to represent ourselves as professionals, not kind of cheaters, and to kind of avoid working on the stuff that are underneath the surface. Alright, so yeah, work ethics, guys. So right now I think we're ready to jump to work on the high poly. Okay, not this one. This one good. Alright, so I hope you have the patience in order to kind of work with me here, because this one is going to be long, guys. This one is taking a long time. Anyways, we're going now to delete the low poly. Alright, so this doesn't work directly, so we're going to do this instead. We're going to show it first. Right click, it doesn't appear. And if we do this, it works. So delete. Delete. Bye bye. Alright, so kind of select everything, and I'm gonna go to the mirror, and we're gonna go with copy, and we just copied it, and we are gonna create the layer. Okay, we're gonna call this pen underscore LP. Copy that. Alright, so we're gonna hide it. Before we do that, we're gonna double click on it, kind of copy it. We're gonna go with no clone in order to bring it back to its original position. Good. Right now we're going to hide the low poly, and I'm gonna work on the high poly only. So we're gonna isolate some of these pieces and work on them individually. So we're gonna convert right now to edit poly to override the shadow modifier, and we're gonna go select our edge, go to Swift Loop, and we will start adding some loops in order for what we call the support edges. How did that happen? Alright, so I accidentally actually added the loop from the inside. Alright, so also here is going to be, it's not going to be a big deal because it's going to be automatic. So turbo smooth. Alright, good. This is how it looks like. I'm going to jump to this piece here, isolate it. I'm going to go to edit, Swift Loop. Alright, so right now I'm going to start adding loops. Loops and hoops. Alright, so here it seems like, alright, since we have another surface on the inside, it kind of it's kind of tricky. So here I don't know if this is going to change or not, but we're going to keep it as it is for now. Also, from the inside, there isn't anything we can do because it's going to be smoothed out. There's nothing we can support. Also here, if we want to support it, it's going to be good. If you don't want to support it, you can leave it as it is. It's kind of the same thing basically, because it's not going to have that much weight. Turbo Smooth modifier, when you look at it, you're going to see something that looks like this. Also, probably here we want to add 2 support edges. So rings, select this one here, ring, connect. I'm gonna go with a few, separate them a little bit like this. And when we apply the Turbo Smooth, we should see something that is looking like this. Okay, great. For this one here, we're gonna isolate it. This is basically gonna be very simple and straightforward. So what we'll do is we're gonna select this and this, connect. Alright, we're gonna separate these like this. Select these as well. Keep holding Control all the time. Alright. Turbo Smooth. Nice. For this one, probably we're gonna go with this one since it's gonna be the same thing. So select everything, loop, ring, connect, 2 sides, push them apart a little bit, and Turbo Smooth. Great. This one isolated over here, or Alt Q from the keyboard, and this one is gonna be the nicest to work on. So we're gonna select this one. What I'm doing basically here, instead of using the Swift loop, I think this is gonna help us gain some time, because the Swift loop is very manual. So, and this method I'm applying here is a little bit automatic, because it's gonna help us gain some time. I'm gonna separate these a little bit. Also, we're gonna do the same thing here. So as you can see, instead of applying the Swift loop to all of these pieces in the same time, or kind of each one individually, we're doing it simultaneously in the same time by selecting some of these edges manually, but in the end we are going to automate it. So Alt R from the keyboard, or ring, connect, 2 by 2 by 2, and banks. Alright, so we're gonna go to edit and Swift loop, probably for this one. For the inner side, it doesn't really matter, except that this end here, because it matters because we want to keep ends sharp and solid. So when we apply the Turbo Smooth, we should see something that looks like this. Also, it seems like this end here, it needs support, because it looks like it needed some support. Okay, nice. Now it looks smoother and nicer. Alright. So this is for this piece as well. And when we look at it like this, it seems like a nice pen, actually. It seems like a nice one. For this one here, which is basically the last piece when it comes to creating the support edges, I'm kind of talking and thinking about how I'm gonna approach it. So I think it's very simple and straightforward. It doesn't actually need any thinking or something of that sort. Sometimes when the selection becomes harder, I kind of use the ring connect method, because it's better in that respect. Also, it's up to you if you want to add 2 here, because for me it doesn't seem like it is necessary, but over here, and here, it is very I think it's going to be important if we want to get better results. Also, you're gonna see something interesting, because these support edges are not really gonna do us a favor when it comes to kind of over here, but it seems like it is not kind of causing that much of a problem, so we're gonna keep them actually. Oh, all right, it seems like this is acceptable. I just was looking at the reference image and I thought that there is something wrong with the model, but it's actually looking pretty good. It's looking solid right now. So before we do anything else, I think we're gonna hide the high poly and bring our low poly version. So right now, what we'll do is we're gonna try to eliminate the polygons that are gonna be unnecessary. And for the most part, I think that lots of these edges are kind of important, and I would say that few of these from the inside, of course, are not going to be that necessary, so we're going to get rid of those in order to reduce the poly count a little bit. From the outer side, not very much. Probably we're gonna, yeah, I think, okay, this was enough, and here probably gonna keep it as it is. When it comes to this one, I think we're gonna probably get rid of probably 2. Okay, and of course these are, we're gonna destroy these few details, because absolutely they're not necessary, since we have the what we call the normal map here. I think you can actually kind of remove all these and no one is gonna tell the difference. Okay, so we're gonna probably keep those 3 just in case. But for these guys, these are gonna be doomed because they're no longer necessary. Thank you for your service and goodbye. Control backspace. Select all of these. So this is the rest of them. Control backspace, remove. I think this one is not that necessary. Okay. We ended up with something that looks like this. Also over here, we're gonna isolate this, and of course these as well are not gonna be are not necessary, because they're gonna be part of the normal map that we'll bake later. Control backspace. Control backspace. And this will actually cause some problems. So what we'll do is we're gonna do this instead. Alright, so it seems like we need to bring these to the center, because this is gonna make our piece more curved. Alright, we're gonna do this. Keep holding control all the time. Control backspace. So this will leave us with this piece over here. Alright, so for the most part, this is what we've done for the most part, and also a few things I want to talk about here, which is kind of smoothing groups. As you can see, these surfaces are kind of broken, so what we'll do, select the element, clear and auto smooth in order to avoid seeing these broken surfaces. And this is basically telling 3ds Max that these surfaces belong to the same smoothing group and that they should not be separated. So also this looks like it is coming from the dead, man. It's destroyed, looking black and white. In certain places, it means that the smoothing groups were completely disrupted and kind of not properly assigned to the polygons. Also for this one, we're going to do the same thing, clear, auto smooth, and this will make it look better. So I think this tutorial is kind of taking longer than I expected. So what we'll do is we will stop here because we already reached 1 hour, which is a little bit longer than I expected. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. So we worked on the high poly and on the low poly, and in the next part we're going to work on UV unwrapping and baking and texturing in Substance Painter. Thank you very much, and I will see you in the next one.